Go. Thought I'd do something super creepy and just stare straight at the camera coming out of this thing. I wonder what's actually going to air. The answer is me staring creepily straight at the camera. So I played that one just right. Good for me. What's up, everybody? Brew, what's happening, my man?
What is up, dog?
It's Friday. I'm tired, man. This is a tough week. Just overall, this one.
You're hurting this week, Dan.
I am hurting this week. I got killed with some serious reflux. Kid having nightmares in the middle of the night. Wife was sick for 2 days. I am cooked. I'm ready. I would say I'm ready for the weekend, but actually my wife is on call this weekend, so it doesn't get any easier. What's up with you? Tell me something good.
Oh, well, I mean, you're acting like we don't have big news.
I don't notice anything different with our feed. I don't know what you're talking about.
I can't see the feed. All I know is that it must look amazing and beautiful and wonderful. And
go to the YouTube page. It's right there on Twitter.
All right, I'm on it. You know what I'm doing here? I'm trying to make my lineup at the last possible second here. And everybody's like, how do you do it, Brew? What is the strategy that makes you a DFS champion? And I'm like, I just look at it for a really long time. I just like stare at the screen.
I do it while I'm hosting a live podcast. That's the secret to the strategy. Check out that sweet new graphic we got here on this thing.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm getting there. But why don't I do one of these and show the folks at home this great coffee that is now, what did we call it?
They're our title. That's
what is it?
Title sponsor, man. Title sponsor right
here.
Title
sponsor of all of our podcasts, Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company, this is just a great moment for me, mostly because I get to talk so much trash to my wife. You don't even understand what a game changer this is. But this amazing coffee company sort of hit us up out of the blue, and they're listeners of the show, which just warms my heart. And so they are now the flagship title sponsor of all of our shows, and they're giving us coffee as well, which everybody who knows me thinks I have a problem, which isn't too surprising to all of you guys out there, I'm sure. But we're getting coffee. I've actually got the coffee in my mug. I hadn't had enough coffee today. So, I mean, everything's just lining up great. But me and my wife, when we go to Hawaii, this here coffee is our coffee. This is the coffee we drink every time we go to Hawaii. So she doesn't know yet and there's actually a box of coffee of her favorite kind sitting downstairs waiting for her. And so this is just going to blow her mind. And I just really, I like the synergy between the two companies already. We had a conversation with Glenn over there, who's great. Again, listener of the show, plays fantasy, just down to earth guy. They're a family company, second generation, and they're just kind of like us. They're trying to make it to the next level. And, they're very excited working in the sports space. So we're going to talk a lot about their coffee. I'm actually going to try every single one of their coffees. And this one here,
you might do it all in one day.
It might happen. I mean, I don't want to say how much coffee I drink, but it's an unhealthy amount. But this Kona Sunrise right here, product placement right here, this might be the leader in the clubhouse. It's a full, rich and bold with the elegance of paradise blend.
That's how I describe you. When people are like, tell me about Brew, I'm like, he's full, rich and bold.
He's full of himself. He's rich. He's rich
and elegant. The way, like, when I saw you come downstairs in your prom dress, I'm telling you, Brew, that was the most elegant thing.
Well, time stopped, right?
Yes, it did. So this is pretty sweet. I don't know if you got the YouTube page open, but you can see they've got, let's see.
The live listeners might have to listen to this again, though.
Yeah. You guys will have to listen to this again, because this is going to have to go. We want to make sure the recorded folks get to hear about this as well. But those of you watching live, you get to see the logo. It's just it's stage right, I think, it's to my left in real life. Hawaiian Isles, Kona Coffee Company. Go to hawaiianisles.com. Check them out because they are our partners. We're partners in crime. It's a big deal. This is a massive day.
It smells so good, Dan. I know you don't have yours yet. It smells so good.
I don't. There's nothing in my bedroom smells good, which is where this podcast takes place. So,
hey, you know what? There is no team named Dan Besbris' Unmade Bed this year.
Want to know why? Because I got the camera pointed too high. You guys can't tell.
Well, and you know what? They're not winning this year either because my teams are just destroying their team. So screw you, listener, follower that names your team after Dan Besbris' Unmade Bed.
How dare you curse them out? Their team is named after the greatest unmade bed in fantasy sports and likely the only unmade bed in fantasy sports. Oh, Brew.
I love this stuff. I love it. I love it.
Gross-ass radio right there.
Well, it ain't radio until you hit the pod record button, Dan.
That is true. We're catching
Oh, wait,
up.
you mean we're live right now?
Oh, no. Maybe. Who knows? YouTube.
Let's talk like we're not live, and let's ruin our reputation.
Would it really change?
Everywhere.
Would anything really change for us at this point? I don't know. All right, we're going into incognito mode here for 5 seconds. So everybody relax. Check out that sweet link I just sent you. Again, that's HawaiianIsles.com, and we'll be back with the official start right after this. What's happening, everybody? A happy Friday to you all. The week nearing its conclusion. Welcome to Live Fantasy NBA Today. I'm your host, Dan Besbris. And of course, on Fridays, we got the founder of Hoopball guzzling coffee by the cupful, the mugful. What is that, a thermos? The thermos full. The great Aaron Bruski. Good Friday to you, sir.
This is a Hydro Flask, and they are not a sponsor of the show, so I don't really want to talk about them. They also make a lid that leaks, so but it actually keeps the coffee nice and warm. I'm doing great, Dan. Thank you very much for asking. And with a little help from my friends at Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company and the Kona Sunrise Blend, I am alive. I am well. I'm ready to do this show. How did I do, Dan?
That was excellent. Yes, the pod listeners, they are none the wiser that those that have been watching live on YouTube have already seen the product. They've seen it again. Yeah, these are our buddies. Well, I think the coolest part about it, and we'll talk about them again later in the show, but the coolest part to me, Brew, was that they are fantasy guys. They're fantasy guys. This partnership started because we were chatting with them on Twitter about fantasy sports. And was like, hey, should we do something together? And they were like, yeah, so we are now. And you guys should check them out, HawaiianIsles.com. Get your coffee there. I think, from reading their website, if I'm not mistaken, they are carried in Cost Plus World Market, which is a national chain and where my wife likes to do a lot of our holiday shopping. So, just saying, you could throw that into the mix. I got an aunt. I got two aunts that love coffee. I think I know what they're getting for Hanukkah this year. Just saying. What else we got going on? We're going to dive into the fantasy in just a moment, folks. Don't worry. I know that people are like, you guys talk about crap at the beginning for too long, but I got one more crap to talk about, and it's our DFS contest. And for those of you watching live, this is relevant. For those of you listening, it's probably too late. But if you're watching the show live right now, the DFS contest lineups lock in 43 minutes from this moment. So hop on into that. The link is being sent out repeatedly via our Twitter channels at Aaron Bruski, at Dan Besbris. You can see the spelling right there on your YouTube screen. His is up that way as I'm pointing with my finger. At Hoopball Fantasy and at Hoopball Tweets. It's also going out over there. I think we have like 10 spots left right now. My guess is that people are finalizing lineups, and I'll try to keep one eye on it as we're doing the show, but it's going to be tough to do that while talking live. I just joined. Brew, I think you're working on punching in your lineup at the moment.
I'm having a hard time figuring it out right now. Usually I like to take a long time and look at this, like a good hour and a half and just stare at it. And then after an hour and a half of staring at it, the answers come to me. I pick, I win. It's glorious. How do you think we funded Hoopball, Dan? Come on. You guys are rushing me right now. I haven't had enough Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. I'm one player away. I'm trying to decide, do I take Steven Adams? He's the guy that I can afford right now.
Nah, I passed on him.
It's not exciting enough for me.
Yeah, not exciting enough. Not enough, because Brew, I don't know about you, but I am regularly getting my butt kicked in DFS because I am way too 9 category oriented. That being my specialty, is just about the worst specialty you can have for DFS. You got to forget about percentages. You don't have to punt. Turnovers per se, they do have an impact, but not that big of one. A turnover is worth the same as like a free throw, basically a point, so to speak. So you want guys that are just going popcorn crazy, and that's never been... I end up punting points in half of my leagues, and that's just like the worst DFS lineup you can make. So I tried to pick all the guys that I would never normally pick, and we'll see how that goes today. We'll see how it goes. I'd love to win because that would then fund an additional 4 entries into this tournament, which I'll probably enter anyway, but I'd rather fund it by winning a previous one.
Well, another shirt as well, Dan.
And another shirt which
I'm wearing right now.
So am I.
It's a stretchy fabric. It's just a great shirt. It's not as good as the hoodie, which, that will be like a super prize. We're going to have these contests, and we're probably, the fingers or don't hold me to this, but we're probably going to have some Kona coffee as a prize as well. But that hoodie, that's the big one. I don't know. Maybe we should do like some tournament of champions for the hoodie. Something like that.
I think people should have to joust with giant foam pads on top of 2 pillars. I wonder if anybody's ever turned that into a TV show.
Was that American Gladiators?
Yeah, American Gladiators. I know. I'm turning the clock back a little bit.
Our market doesn't watch that show.
They sure do. They're all a bunch of old farts like us. Let's talk fantasy sports. Brew, you ready? I got a list of stories to go over.
I am. Let's do it, Dan.
All right. I'm going to try to whittle this thing down to the biggest, most key stories because I can see the chat room is already popping here right at the start of our thing. So I want to give those asking questions enough time. I also want to mention here at the beginning, if you post a question in there that's like, hey, here's a 3-for-3 trade I'm considering, what do you guys think? We are skipping that question. I'm always really nice about it when I'm like, oh, we just got to get to other stuff and blah, 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 which we do. We're big picture stuff. That's it. Pickups, drops, the whole thing. But if you got something that's really team specific and if you have like 12 categories instead of 8 or 9, that's the type of stuff we just can't do live. It requires either a whole bunch of thought or a really bad answer, and I don't think either one of those is going to work out. So, story number 1, and I don't think this one's a big fantasy implication story, but it is an interesting one, and that is, Brew, Steph is back tomorrow. Well, that must bring a smile to your face.
Man, thank God. He's been ready to go for about a week, and if you do these things as a fantasy analyst where you watch a post-game show, you want to know what, like, Greg Papa thinks about a return time because he's getting the inside information that we'll go with, he's really nice about letting that information fly. And so the entire post-game show the other night was like, yeah, Steph's coming back Thursday. Nope. He's coming back Saturday. And so, yeah, that'll work. I mean, better late than never. If you started him in this 3-game week, you got a game, which I think you can live with. Hopefully it's not going to kill you too much. And now it's time for the Warriors to get normal again. I think you're going to see Draymond Green. It's a good time for him to get out of town with all the drama and also get the toe healed up at the same time. So they're probably going to go on a massive run where, like 15-game winning streak, reassert their dominance. Everybody will forget the drama, at least for a little bit. And then we'll be back to square one when KD acts out again.
All right, easy enough. I thought I'd give you one to put you in a nice mood here as we settle into things, right? Not that the rest of these won't. I knew that one would. Let's jump to Phoenix, the next destination on our little... You know what I picture in my mind? And this is like a total waste of time, but that's what I'm best at.
Now I see why you asked the one that would make me happy. You're going to go to Phoenix next.
No, well, I mean, I got a good and a bad side to this one, but in my mind, I don't know if you, Brew, or if anybody watching ever played Street Fighter as a video game as a kid, where in between all the little battles, you had this absurd graphic of watching a plane like fly to different countries where you had to take on, Blanca, you'd fly to Brazil, or Bison, you had to fly to Thailand or whatever it was. So in my mind, this is what's happening as I move from topic to topic, as I'm taking a little 16-bit airplane to Phoenix.
You're letting the listeners know too much, Dan.
They know I'm nuts. These clowns.
Because you were actually thinking that.
Yeah, without question.
That happened.
That was not, I wouldn't make that up if it wasn't actually happening in my head. Also, I need more sleep. Mikal Bridges, Elia Kobo, that side of things is obviously a question mark. And then Rashawn Holmes, who's playing his ass off in 18 minutes a game these days. So, there's the bad, there's the good. How does this shake out in Phoenix? What are the next couple of steps or weeks looking like?
I guess the good news about Phoenix is it is pretty clear what's going on there. They have two chuckers, Devin Booker and TJ Warren are really commanding a lot of the offense. There's no thought of passing most of the time, though. Booker did have a nice 8-assist game the other day. So what it's done is it's put Mikal Bridges on ice, and that was what I had mentioned probably about a week ago. Said the next 2 to 3 weeks are going to be rough while they figure out how to implement him. And also they need to thin out, and that could happen naturally. TJ Warren's a great trade candidate, I think. And removing somebody like that could really open things up. And then you see Elia Kobo come in and really add a passing element to the attack. He has his flaws. He's a little light. He's going to get pushed around on defense. He's not going to be terribly good against good teams, might not play that much, and he's not going to tilt the offense away from Devin Booker or anything like that. But, I mean, you just saw some really nice stuff that could lead to good things for a guy like Richaun Holmes, some simple pick and roll action, busted Holmes free for a couple buckets. And, Mikal Bridges, he just has to get somebody to pass him the ball. I mean, he's wide open. He's standing in the corner. It's not his fault. You look at a player like that, and it's sort of a just add water thing. If the water gets added, great. You're going to have a Chris Middleton light shooting stat set that's going to be completely functional for standard leagues. But like I said, it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get there. The Holmes thing is really exciting. And man, you don't want to go out there and like crush your number 1 overall draft pick in DeAndre Ayton, but he's just a guy that looks like he can do everything a little bit well, but he's not great at any one thing. And when he comes up against a physical challenge, he had one in Boban the other day, and that didn't work out for him. But he's kind of looking normal out there. And you get Holmes coming in, and Holmes is just all over the place. He's flying around for blocks. I would be having a hard time if I was Igor Kokoshkov trying to keep Ayton's minutes at 33 per game when you see that Holmes is out there playing better than him. And so what's the answer there? Maybe you see Ayton play 30 and Holmes get 18. And then Holmes, if he can get to that 20 mark, if he gets to 20 and he's a late round guy with all the upside in the world, the question will be, can they play together? And I don't know if that answer is a good one for fantasy value for Holmes, because I don't know if the answer is yes. They seem pretty set on this just 48-minute rotation between the two guys. But if you see a trade of somebody like TJ Warren, that does open things up for more minutes to be distributed for them to play around with stuff like that. So I really do like, Holmes, as far as just a profile on him. He's been amazing. He's made us look good again. We were screaming at the top of the mountain last year when he wasn't playing. He was looking pretty good in Philly, when he was on the floor, but getting traded for nothing. And if you're a team that needs a rim protector and you just let that happen, can't say you weren't warned at hoop ball, because we've been telling you this was an easy one for a while. He's out there. I mean, man, just having a big guy that can do the things that he does and give you that energy and give you that rim protection and give you that toughness and inside scoring. And what you're going to see the next level of his game now that he's comfortable is he can shoot. When he got to Phoenix, he wasn't able to really put it together because of rust and not having a lot of, confidence after being traded for nothing and dealing with what he dealt with in Philly. So I just think he's just an asset on the rise. And, my 14-team leagues, I'm doing what I can to make sure I got him stashed.
Yeah, he's been about a top 115 guy over the last 2 weeks. Can he hold that level? Could he go higher? Do you think he tapers off more towards 130? What do you think the potential outlook is there?
I think it's at 20 minutes, you're going to get that top 150. So I don't think he's going to get there. I think he's had some really leveraged lines. He's not going to get, I think he had 6 combined steals and blocks last night, or in his last game. Like, that's not going to happen every night. But yeah, top 150 at 20 minutes, I think is a lock. So that's what you're looking for. And then can you make it work where, you use him during 4-game weeks in a weekly league, and get something like top 110 value, have him sit on your bench in those 3-game weeks. That's where I think you want to be if you're a fantasy owner in a competitive or even a deeper league. Because, man, anything happens to DeAndre Ayton, you're looking at a top 40 asset that's it's a proven top 40 asset. And he really hasn't even scratched the surface in terms of what teams do with him. Again, Devin Booker is going to make things really tough. If he was playing with Elia Kobo or just a pass first point guard of any degree. I mean, he's open on that roll to the rim. And because he can get vertical with the best of them in the league, it does so much to open up the offense for everybody else. He rolls, they tag him, the guy's open in the corner for the corner three. I mean, it's just basic modern offense. And I think you're going to start to see that reflected in the playing time decisions that Kokosov makes.
Yeah, and I guess my only thing is what a heck of a job DeAndre Ayton's done to stay out of foul trouble for the most part this year. I think he's had like 2 games all season where he's been pulled because of fouls. That's impressive for a rookie big man.
Yeah, Boban got him, though. And,
that was basically it.
He said after the game, too, he's like, I didn't even know what to do with that guy. So Ayton's still dealing with some rookie stuff, and it's just a fascinating thing. He does everything a little bit well, and how that translates into his future, you know, especially in relation to some of these other guys. And Luka Doncic is tearing it up right now. You got Jaren Jackson Jr. doing good things and sort of all the way down the draft board. You know, will the Phoenix Suns look back at that and wish they'd gone another direction?
Well, they got a decent one at the very least. That's a lot of pretty good guys out there. Next stop, as my little Street Fighter plane travels from place to place, is Washington, because things are super weird with the Wizards. It went from imminent explosion / implosion to what the hell is going on with Dwight Howard, and I don't know how much of the truly weird stuff that we really want to cover on this podcast. I'm guessing little. Otto Porter being out for a personal reason, although it sounds like he'll be back for their next ball game. Kelly Oubre having one really good game recently, and Markieff Morris playing really well off the bench, where he doesn't have to wait for Bradley Beal and John Wall to give him the ball every single time. How does this situation play itself out? Are you squatting on guys like Oubre and Keefe? Is Satoransky? I mean, we covered them last week or the week before, I think. But to me, things have changed since then, at least from a personnel standpoint. Does it change anything with how you're treating this team?
You know, I think the one player, and shout out to Jonas Nader over at Roto World for sort of being the first guy that I saw on Twitter, you know, get excited about Thomas Bryant. He's the guy I think you want to break out. The question is, can he get the minutes? And Scott Brooks is not really known for giving young players minutes, so I don't think that's going to happen. But it's the one you're most excited about because Howard's going to be out for the foreseeable future. There's a big long ramp there, you know, for him to get going. And beyond that, yeah, I do think you're looking at Satoransky. I think you're looking, I don't know how much I'd buy the Otto Porter trade stuff that just sort of hit with the Kings. They got their own drama. I don't know if we're covering it or not. But the idea that there would be extra minutes at the small forward slot in the event of a trade, he's the tradable piece. It's a big contract. I think there's enough value to him as a player to where, you know, Orlando or probably Washington could get what they want to get back. That would open it up for Oubre. And also with Howard going out, you do now have enough minutes for everybody else to stay above water. Oubre is definitely hot. He's probably at the top of the list. The one that you're excited about is Bryant, but Oubre is the first ad. I think the move to the bench is great for Markieff Morris. Who knows if that sticks, you know, with now the news that Howard's going to be out. He's definitely a must-own player. So Satoransky, if I had to slot him, I'd probably go Oubre, Bryant, Satoransky, and then I don't think I'm buying into Jeff Green, even if he goes on a 4-game tear, because it's just unsustainable. So I think it's pretty defined now there. And you just now wonder how far will things fall off for a guy like John Wall or will Bradley Beal? Will either of those guys pack it in at any point in time during what will probably be a lost season? But you know what? It's early. We're in the first quarter of the year. Things could turn around. You just never know with the Wizards or I guess even NBA teams in general. So yeah, that's the order though. We'll see. Bryant's the one, man, because the big men in this league, if they can block shots, get you defensive stats and rebounds, especially with the way that the league has gone to a perimeter-oriented game, you can climb up the ranks fast. We'll just see, though. He just hasn't gotten the minutes yet.
Wizards currently 8-13, although they have won 6 of their last 10, and they've been marginally better with the readjusted starting lineup. We'll see how.
One last thing on Bryant too is like once you know your big man's out for that long, you kind of got to take a long-term approach. You can't really go into a block of games like that with just 2 power forwards and saying, all right, we're going to play small for that long. And it might be the case that they look at this and say, all right, we need to do something long term. So let's up his minutes a little bit. I think he's sort of like a lot of big men where he needs to get to 20 minutes and then things start to work out from a fantasy perspective. So I'm not racing to the wire to grab him by any means, but he's at the top of the watch list.
Next stop on our, again, 16-bit travel train here is, well, let's see. Where do I want to go next? How about the Indiana Pacers? Because right before we went on air today, we got word that Victor Oladipo is, quote, out indefinitely, but also expected back in the near future. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's not that drunk. No, I mean, whenever I get to make a beer fest reference, I want to. He's just got a bum knee right now. That's it. I mean, it's not great that your franchise centerpiece and your late first round draft pick are dealing with that early in the year, but it is early in the year, and this is the time of the year to get ahead of that kind of stuff. So, the hope will be that they did the right thing. They got ahead of it early, and by doing so, that he can continue to play at a high level for the rest of the year. It's definitely not good news, though. I mean, I think if you were to redraft today, it would knock him clear into maybe even the bottom of the second round. Is his talent level late first round? Absolutely. But, with the challenges that Indiana's shown with having such a tight rotation, it's probably not a good ROI situation for owners that had the unfortunate penalty of drafting late in the first round.
And what does this mean for the other guys around him? I did a little bit of a minutes breakdown where, a guy like Thad Young, if he can crack the 30-minute threshold, it seems like he's in, and that's been happening every so often. Darren Collison has been weird this year. I mean, he had 5 steals in that last ball game, but couldn't hit a shot to save his life. What's happened to the guy that could hit 48%? That's the guy that the guy that could make almost 90% of his free throws. Where is that guy? And what the heck is Tyreke Evans doing out there? Corey Joseph has generally been outplaying them from a reality standpoint. They're very deep, which has been helpful for them. But from a fantasy standpoint, things are still pretty murky.
What's not really been, I think, picked up on or noticed around at least what I see in the community is Domantas Sabonis is just a massive part of what they do now. And he's not getting starters minutes, but he's putting massive numbers up. And when he's on the floor, he's just this massive force. So some of that is tilting the offense toward him and away from other guys. That's not helping matters, for a Darren Collison or a Tyreke Evans or whoever you want to talk about that's sort of, bumbling along in fantasy leagues. And then Bojan Bogdanovic is being very good this year. And, he stepped his game up a little bit. So all of that isn't helping these guys. Tyreke does not appear to be a good fit there. He would be the guy that I think if you could pull a pin and release some of this pressure, he would be the guy that if you're Indy that you would want to deal at the deadline or sooner to a team that needs a scorer and try to get something for it. Will they do it? It's hard to say because teams that are in the bottom of the East for contention might not want to lose a piece, and might not want to mess with team chemistry. But I'm not buying into Darren Collison. I'm not buying into Tyreke Evans. I'm not buying into Thad Young. I'm not buying into Miles Turner. Though I will feel some responsibility for that deal that I don't know if you did or not, that you asked me about, Dan.
I'm still sitting on it.
The pressure of giving a friend advice in fantasy leagues is really high, dude. I feel like if I mess that deal up for you.
I'm struggling with that one. I really am. The deal, by the way, to those that are wondering what we're talking about is someone offered me Paul George for Chris Middleton and Miles Turner. And this, to me, feels really close to fair in terms of a 2-for-1 and seems like the kind of thing that I would normally do in a heartbeat. I just sort of have to make sure that all of it adds up properly. I'm leaning, by the way, Brute, towards doing it just because I'm a little bit of a trading gambler these days, and my thought is it's still the end of November, and
I recommended against it. So he's going up against
the
Grand Poobah here.
I can't.
And it's going to look bad on one of us.
Well, I think the worst case scenario is that it's
and I did call myself the Grand Poobah just now.
Yeah, you are a Poobah, and at times you are grand. So I think that's fair. It's November 30th. I think someone's going to pop up on the waiver wire that I can grab to fill in that open roster spot.
I never told you this piece of the advice, though. this is something that I didn't get to you, was I feel like you're going to get that waiver wire opportunity with somebody else on your roster. So the value of the extra roster slot is minimized by the fact that one of your low end players is going to either suck or get hurt.
Oh yeah, those guys are moving on and off also. That's without question. I like that freedom. I like making moves. I like doing stuff all the time. And it's a daily league too, so you got to sort of be Johnny on the spot. You could turn it into a streaming hole if you wanted to. I like that, by the way. I think I'm going to use the term streaming hole because it feels like a place you could go fishing a little bit or urinate. I don't know which one that evokes in your mind. Still sitting on that, by the way. Still trying to figure out what I want.
I want to see you keep digging with that metaphor you're working on there.
Yeah, I'm peeing into a hole. That's where we're going here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he gets his weekly check-in, and this one is more interesting because the last 2 games he's played, he's hit a 3-pointer, and he's actually given out a few assists. Is this a thing that can stick for him? Because for me, that was the reason I was less inclined to go nuts about him. He's looked like closer to a fantasy asset in these 2 games, without question.
I mean, I kind of just think the same thing. He's a late round guy with a little bit of upside. If, a couple things break his way, right. I don't think the offense will tilt his way. I got to watch him a little bit up close in the last week, and he's not going to start shooting threes this year. He's still very tentative out there. If he did, it would be like a mental thing where somebody said, hey, you got to start shooting more threes, and then he just went out and did it. But I think for his game, he's looking for spot up, stand still, wide open 3-pointers, and that's why it fluctuates on a night-to-night basis.
All right, fair enough. That's the weekly check-in on SGA. Atlanta is the next stop on our tour of the country. They moved Kent Bazemore to the bench. Other than a terrible shooting night, he's seemed to be fine with it. There's a lot of chatter of him getting moved, and I can understand that. But again, it is also still November 11th. Your thoughts as well on Taurean Prince, who's gotten off to a little bit of a rocky start, and then is there anything to the Huerter, DeAndre Bembry contingent that's starting to play a few more minutes out there?
First of all, the Bazemore stuff is buy low territory because he plays the same amount of minutes right now off the bench that he does as a starter, which is 27 minutes per game, which is also, by the way, very smart because he's got a knee issue that hasn't shown up this year, and he's providing great fantasy value. He's going to probably... be one of the most valuable. JaVale McGee probably wins this award this year. One of the most valuable late round sort of guys that you could get in a draft. So he's fine. Prince will be fine. He'll get everything right. I think Atlanta, they're mixing it up a little bit right now. That's murkying the waters. Jeremy Lin is hurt again, which I'm sure is going to bum you out. It's bumming me out. I picked him up in one important team, and I think, though, they're just, it's going to be a little bit of an attrition thing in Atlanta. And I'm also not worried about that Bazemore trade one bit. You worry about that stuff when it happens. There's too many examples to count of decisions made at the beginnings or early in fantasy years based on the trade deadline and the potential for a guy to get moved that never pan out. So, Atlanta's fun. They play at a high pace. I think John Collins is going to start really putting up some big numbers here soon. And even somebody like Omari Spellman or Kevin Huerter, or Huerter. Sorry, I can't do the Huer without putting a Spanish accent on it. They all got Bembry. They got some pop in there. So I'm really enjoying watching that team muck it up. Even watching Trae Young go out there and play a really bad brand of basketball. So I don't know. We'll see which one rises, but the main guys are going to be fine.
All right, fair enough. Rondé Hollis-Jefferson got a start this week. His percentages are pretty awful. Is there any way he can work his way into late round value? Because currently in 9 categories, he's sitting at number 247.
Yeah, it's a little rough for him. When he got back, he didn't have his role. He didn't have his mojo. He was banged up. You could almost say the only thing that he wasn't was just knocked out of every game. He's just sort of limping around out there. They are a team that needs him out there, though. And you're going to see that as we go through the next 3 quarters of the year. They are so thin up front. They're just getting pounded every time. Jared Allen can't do it on his own. And, you look at like DFS ranks and things like that. They give up so many points to opposing big men. And part of that is because they play Rondé Hollis Jefferson's power forward, but he is going to be one of their better interior guys until they find somebody else, and they're not going to find anybody else, unless they trade for somebody this year. So he is. So
you actually kind of like him a little bit. Interesting.
Yeah, I haven't dropped him at all. Like, I mean, I know that the production's been bad. I just think he's a top 100 guy. Probably about a 2/3 to 3/4 chance he's a top 100 guy within about 2 to 3 weeks. So in my leagues where, we got 190 some odd players that are drafted, you want to keep a top half of the draft type guy and give him a chance. I'm not holding those injuries against him. So yeah. And the percentages thing are a function of being comfortable and injuries, and those will regress.
I want to take this moment, by the way, at about the halfway point of the show to remind everybody you have 16 minutes to get into the DraftKings Beat the Expert contest. I know a lot of you are trying to wrap up your work week and get home here on the Pacific Coast or in Mountain Time. Those of you on Central and Eastern Time, you're probably home already. You're maybe the better audience for this. Go make a lineup. Take 15 minutes, hop in. It's $3 to get into the Beat the Expert competition. The top 10 spots pay $15 a piece, and the number one point total at the end of the night wins a hoop ball t-shirt. Again, you have 15 minutes left. There are 11 slots remaining in the contest. So again, it maxes out, which also means that you only have to, in a worst case scenario, beat, I guess, what would be 40, 39 teams?
Do you believe in Jamal Crawford at all? Could Jamal Crawford do anything today? This is how it all goes downhill, folks.
Honestly, I had to take like 3 seconds there to remember what team Jamal Crawford was on. I know he's Phoenix, but no.
I can get Luka Doncic if I take Mikal Bridges out of my lineup and put in Jamal Crawford.
Might be worthwhile. I mean, Bridges could have 2 rebounds and a steal or whatever he did last time around. I got some big names in my lineup.
Hey, you know what? Done and done.
There
you
go.
What? You can take the free advice.
Don't do anything that Brew and I are doing. That's the free advice. Whatever we're talking about, just do the opposite. I got some big names in my lineup this time. I went for all buzz. This is an all not Hornets, not Charlotte Hornets. This is just an all like buzzy name lineup, which is the exact opposite of what I did last week. And we'll see how that pans out for me. So again, you got 14 minutes to get into that bad boy. Do it. Do it to it. And then go to HawaiianIsles.com while you're at it because, show some love to our first ever podcast partner, Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee. You can see their logo if you're watching us live there, just to get my right. And
it's really good. I've been sitting here drinking this coffee, and it's an upgrade on my normal coffee, which I hate to say has been Costco brand.
Costco makes good stuff, though.
But you know what? I'm not kidding. It's better than most. And I had never tried this. I've always gone with the vanilla macadamia nut, and we've always sort of kept it as an aside, like for a special occasion. This is our coffee that we drink on weekends, stuff like that. This Kona Sunrise, my God.
Time for you to upgrade your life, baby. All Hawaiian Isles all the time. I think you did. I got a couple of little quick hitters here, and then we'll get to the questions. Last week, we talked about the fact that Taj seemed like he was moving in front of Dario Saric. Since we've spoken, he's out-minuted Dario in every game since. Do you think it's safe now to call it official that Gibson has moved in front in that position battle?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Tibbs is Tibbs, and we've just seen this show way too many times to try to find a way to make Saric a thing. And I'll probably be dropping him in those bigger 190-player leagues. And it's painful because he's a good player. He can make a difference if given the minutes and given the opportunity, but they're so dogmatic there with what they do. He's going to probably do some good things over the next 4 weeks and maybe work his way into a late-round position at some point. It's just a bummer. And, you can see, like, right next door, Robert Covington, player that Tibbs would love. And is easy. Just throwing out there and just monster games. And
that was
so it's just a classic Tibbs thing that's going on. So, yeah, I can't get behind the Saric.
We nailed this one. We nailed this one. At the day of the trade, we were like, just look and see which guys look like Tibbs guys. And it looked like it would be Taj and Rocco. And after a little back and forth that first week, it looks like it's Taj and Rocco. And again, I'm not going to pick on any websites. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm just saying that when something comes out and says somebody is a drop before any game has been played, just take a deep breath and realize that they're humans too, and they're trying to make a call, and sometimes we put the cart before the horse. So in those moments, try to be patient. That's the only advice I can give with that. We held on to both to see how this would play out, and I think that's wise because the initial feeling was, well, Dario, they just traded for him. Maybe he should get the role, and our thought was, well, wait a minute. This is Taj we're talking about. This is the guy Tibbs has had for like a decade, and so that's shaking itself out. Brew, looks like you have a thought.
What about Damari Carroll for my lineup here?
Is he even playing?
Because I got position issues now. I don't know, man. I need $100 savings somewhere.
Oh my God,
otherwise,
brutal. You're done.
I'm just brutal here.
Yeah, you're cooked. You're not even.
I can get the other Bridges. Should I do the other Bridges?
Miles Bridges. I like Miles Bridges. He's been playing well these days, but not for this, though. He's not a DFS guy. It's like 6 points, 5 rebounds, a steal, and 2 blocks. That sounds great for like a late-end 9 cap, but that's just garbage in DFS.
This whole situation's garbage, Dan.
I'm aware. This is hard.
Go on.
What do you think about Tim Frazier just in general? Wink, wink, nod, nod.
You can, you know what? Actually, if anything were to happen to Julius Randle, like he's such a kind of point forward that I think it really takes the air out of whatever Frazier can do.
Okay.
So, and they also they kind of sometimes tilt towards like Wes Johnson. So deep leagues, yeah, but no, I'm not running after that.
All right, last one. This one, sadly, is not a quickie, but I do think we need to cover it before we get into the chat room questions, and that is what's going on in Miami. What a train wreck right now, huh?
I thought you were going to say Sacramento.
No, I didn't have them on the list this time. We'll see if any questions come up about them. But Miami, good Lord, they're 7-13.
This one doesn't wear well on Spoelstra.
No, although I did bet the under, so I feel good about that.
He usually pushes the right buttons, and in this case, he has been just so stuck on, and Riley too, so stuck on just this group of players and not finding a couple of them and saying, all right, you're no longer a piece of this.
Yeah, you got to eliminate somebody, right?
You're going to add Rodney Magruder to the mix. Nothing against Rodney Magruder. He's played really well. Like, you got to do something to ease the pressure there. Goran Dragic, Tyler Johnson are just like, in Dragic's case, he just looks like he's lost 2 steps. And Tyler Johnson can't stay healthy and doesn't appear to be, as good in previous years. And so you've got these real problems with the initiation of offense. At the same time, you got like 5 different initiators. So
it's weird.
You're not good, and you're also overstocked with initiators.
They had 3 of their main guys out, if you can potentially call Dion Waiters a main guy. So let's say 2 and change, and they still played a 10-man rotation in their last ball game. Like, this is a team that's looking to play 13 guys on a nightly basis. You got to thin the herd a little bit, right?
Well, but the big thing is they got to get rid of Hassan Whiteside, and nobody in the league wants Hassan Whiteside.
It's a hell of a contract.
That's the biggest issue there. They gave him the deal. It's like they've been, obviously their deals don't look good right now. I mean, looking at some of them at the time, they probably weren't as bad at the time as they look now. But they, if you could do that, then I think things start to slot in place. You could play Justice Winslow at power forward where he has some value. They tried him at point guard. It's not working there. Imagine, 4 positions they're trying this guy out at. But if you could go with a Kelly Olynyk and Bam Adebayo mix at center, that would be much better, and it would open things up for James Johnson at power forward, and then you start to get some normalcy throughout the lineup. But it can't happen until you get rid of Hassan Whiteside, and they can't find a taker. It's one of these things where teams have to just get rid of guys.
Yeah, you got to just wear it. You got to wear it.
Just wear it.
I have a thought.
I'll give you something to take him. That
yes.
kind of thing.
John Wall should probably be handled in a similar fashion. How long? I know we're only at the 1 quarter mark. So again, I just preached patience, and now I have to ask a question that maybe leads towards the opposite end of the spectrum. How long do you think before this team says, screw it, this is a D-Wade farewell tour year, and they just go the way of the Kobe Lakers for a season? Because if that was the case, Dwayne Wade could actually end up with fantasy value.
he can't play for long stretches without a game off. That's the problem there, I think. And you'll never know when that game off is going to be.
So you got to be in a games cap format,
games
basically.
Cap, daily changes, and they actually are trying to not let Dwayne Wade have an impact. It's like they all know, Dwayne knows, the team knows, the management knows that if you put him on the court, all of these deferrers are going to keep deferring. And I mean, they're like, they had a problem in a crunch time of a game. I can't remember which game it was, where Richardson passed the ball to Wade, and Wade, knowing that they want Richardson to be the man, Wade said, "No, you take the ball back." And you'd think, okay, but what's the harm in that? Well, it threw their entire offense off in that particular possession. And that's the kind of stuff that's going on there. Wade is the crutch that they can't afford to have with that team full of deferrers. So he's just like empty or bad calories. And so the tanking word has popped up in certain conversations around the team, but
they should. It's time to blow that sucker up. That's like one of the most obvious ones in the league.
How do you do it?
I don't know.
Nobody wants any of those contracts.
They should start taking on more bad contracts and punt that way. Just go, like, say, look, we're blowing it up. It's a 3-year strategy. Give me your worst contracts and throw in a first rounder with them, and in 4 years we'll hit.
We're going into the tax.
Yep, we're going into the tax to take all of your worth. There's something to that. All right, let's do some questions. Do we have anything we want to promo besides Hawaiian Isles Coffee here? 30-second break from fantasy stuff before we take questions. I feel like we hit the important
I got 5 minutes till I got to pick a player here, and
you still haven't? Good Lord, man.
It's stressful, man. It's stressful. No, our premium product, we're going to run a promo here. Me and you were talking about that this weekend.
Oh, yeah, right.
So keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a smoking deal, and it'll last probably about a week, I want to say. So that, and also you can get the premium product for free by doing the DraftKings deal, which would then allow you to play in this contest here. You're not going to get it done in time, I don't think, for today's contest, but that $10 for first-time users gets you the premium product for free. So highly recommended that you check that out. And that is pretty much what's going on as far as product and premium goes. Beyond that, it's just coffee, coffee, coffee.
Yeah, that's right. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Get yourself wired to the hilt, ladies and gentlemen. When you do it with our partners. They're so cool. They're so cool, man. This is a sort of a dream. I'm like a kid in a candy store here, not because of the coffee aspect, but just like I've been doing this broadcasting thing for a really long time, and it's amazing when something like this comes together. So it's a really cool moment. I know a lot of you guys, Hoop Ballers for Life, check them out. Go to their website at the very least and give them a look, and I think you'll like what you see. So let's do some questions. I've been cutting and pasting them all into a Word document because the first ones from this morning have indeed disappeared from the YouTube chat window, but that is why I have a Word document. It's good. What kind of clock do we have here? I think we got about 20 minutes.
Do you trust Julius Randle against Miami, against all those similarly sized players?
Don't get me started on Julius, man. I put him in my lineup 2 weeks ago when he had like 0, 3,
what about
and 0.
Jamal Murray? Like
No. He's not the right kind of guy. He's more of a 9-cat kind of dude. Like the fact that he shoots 90%.
I'm looking at Jabari Parker.
See, now
just
that's your
shoot myself.
That's your DFS-y kind of guy because his percentages are garbage. He doesn't get a bunch of steals and blocks, but he's gonna go out there and get you 25, 9, and 6.
He's playing against the Pistons, who have another similar guy in Blake Griffin, and it's killing me.
Blake Griffin.
Do I gotta go down to Tatum?
No, I don't think he's the right kind of guy. I think he's the wrong type of player for DFS too. So this is the kind of thrilling analysis you get when you listen to us instead of Micah Patria and John Schifferle. You should go check them out.
Probably listen to them.
Brew, you got 3 minutes to put your thing in, and there's only like 8 spots left, so you probably want to do that like now because I'm about to put you in the hot seat, and then you're not going to have time to click that OK button. Let me know.
All right, well, that's what she said. And
giggity.
Giggity. Well, just start asking questions. I can multitask, Dan. I can do 2 things at once.
All right. Trade on the table here. Montrezl Harrell and Jason Tatum for Marc Gasol. Which side do you like?
Well, maybe I should pay attention here. Montrezl Harrell and who?
And Jason Tater for Marc Gasol.
No, I want both of the two players. They're going to produce similar ranges as Marcus Gasol, and you get two of them.
So you like Montrez rest of season top 50?
Oh yeah. He's going to be a beast, man. He could look at a top 30 finish if he just keeps cranking them out.
I have both Dwight Howard and Karis LeVert in a points league. I have one IR spot, and I'm in first. Who should I keep, or should I try to hold both since I'm likely to make the playoffs anyway?
The internet cut out, Dan. What was that?
It's a points league, too, so that brings
points league, okay.
Dwight Howard and
our
Karis
players
LeVert. Are we holding both of them? Are we getting rid of one with only one IR spot?
Who are the players?
Dwight Howard and Karis LeVert.
Oh, you're getting rid of. I mean, maybe you can hold Karis LeVert. You're getting rid of Dwight Howard. Could be a lost season, and Karis LeVert has that upside. So yeah, I'm gonna get rid of Howard. You can't keep both, and it's definitely I'd get rid of Howard no matter what. But Karis LeVert is a hold.
Did you make the contest? Because there's 14 seconds left.
I made the contest, Dan,
okay,
and I lied a second ago. The internet didn't cut out. I was just panicking over my lineup.
Oh,
I have 9 seconds to get into another contest because this could be the winning lineup of all time, and of course the internet's going to go slow. Enter. No,
you missed it. Mikal Bridges or Mitchell Robinson rest of season points league.
Points league. That's a tough one. I mean, if we're gonna go with like a standard points strategy there, where it's not some 9 caddy point strategy. Michael, who was the other one? It was Michael and
Mitchell Robinson.
I think Robinson's probably got more upside. It's tough because I mean Robinson's gonna get you when they cut him loose in late in the year, 25 minutes. He's probably gonna get you like maybe like 10 and 8, but like those 6 blocks. I don't know how much those blocks. Well, not 6, but like 4 blocks. That kind of thing is what you could be expecting out of him. Crazy that we're even saying that, by the way, that he could come in and get 4 blocks per game. I would go for that over Mikal Bridges. All
right. A couple of folks in the chat room just mentioned they want the link to the coffee company, so I just put that in the chat. HawaiianIsles.com. Beasley said, if I can get a sponsor link, I'll buy $50 worth of coffee right now. Beautiful. That's what we like to hear, man, and that's what Glenn likes to hear over at Hawaiian Isles. But here's the thing. You're going to get it, and you're going to love it. So it's going to be sort of a double bonus on that one. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody checking out the partners link as well. This is a real cool day for us. Thoughts on buying Kevin Love when he's roughly about a month away from coming back?
That's the reason I stayed away from him in drafts this year. There's nothing for those guys to play for. There's no reason for him to come back and aggravate an injury. I could see him coming back and being sort of like a, 3 out of every 4 games kind of a guy. What it's going to cost you to buy into him, I really don't know what that would be right now. I mean, if I had Kevin Love rotting on my bench right now, I would think like any top 100 guy, I'd be all about it. So if it's a playoff format, things could change. I mean, that's going to bump his value up considerably, maybe. I probably would not buy into Kevin Love for any top 75 players still.
So the pairing that got thrown out here is Rudy Gay and Rodney Magruder for Kevin Love. I think I'm going Love in that one.
Rudy Gay's been surprisingly good, as has Magruder. And I know a lot of players that would take the 2 top 75-ish guys and just say, what can I get out of them? Again, big difference in playoff formats, though. If it's a playoff format, and I then keep Kevin Love, because you could, if Kevin Love does come back and he's just, a top 50 guy, that's hard to find. And Rudy Gay's got injury issues. Magruder, Miami, who knows? He's been the most consistent among them all there, outside of Josh Richardson, of course. But yeah, playoff format, I probably hold Love, and if not, then I go for the other 2.
Let's see here. We talked about Indiana a little bit on that front, so that question we can hop over. Asking for no real reason, but what's your favorite DFS plays for tonight? That's clever, Connor. Connor, you're going to beat us regardless, and we We'll find
No,
out
Dan,
soon.
here's what's going to happen. Because I only entered the one contest, tonight's the night that I scored 325 points and would have won the big one. So everybody,
Ah,
you're all
yeah.
going down.
Maybe. Perhaps. Is Aaron Holiday worth a look with the Victor Oladipo news, or nah?
No, but he finally had a bad game, and then his most recent game hasn't been as good as the first few games. He's earned the attention though, and if Tyreek Evans gets sent away or hurt, I think you want to keep him on the top of your watch list and just sort of watch and see what he can do.
This is why I've kept Darren Collison cooling on my bench this whole damn time. Keeper league, is Pascal Siakam going to be top 35 next year?
He has one of these stat sets that it's nice and it could improve, but it also has the potential to unravel, I think. How does he improve from the foul line is a big question. He's hitting some 60+% of his shots right now. But when he has the ball in his hands, he is sort of an out of control freight train. So if he was to develop a really good pull-up dribble, you could see a massive decline. Pull-up dribble jump shot, you could see a massive decline in field goal percentage. And I don't know that he's going to make that up in 3-point percentage and, 3-pointers made. So I think there's definitely capability for him to be that kind of a guy, but I'm a little worried that he might lose his efficiency in the wrong situation.
64% is a tough number to keep up. Corey Joseph, can he be a 12-team guy this year?
But he has been already. But I'm worried about the regression. We've seen signs of that in a few of his games. I think he went 0 for 6 the other night. He's going to be probably a 14-team low-end guy for the rest of the year.
Gotcha. Alonzo Trier or Mikal Bridges rest of season?
Oh, Bridges. I mean, even though Bridges has been just brutal lately, it's going to be Bridges. And because Trier, even when he's good, he's not that good.
How does Trevor Ariza sit the rest of the year? Top 100?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, you got to worry about him getting traded to a contender, at the deadline. And also, how long does he want to watch Devin Booker take jumpers?
I mean, he watched James Harden for a long time. Although James did pass him the ball, so I guess that's a difference.
James passed him the ball. There's a lot of difference between James Harden breaking down the defense and Devin Booker just sort of flying in there, just getting his.
Yeah.
And it's not even Booker's fault. You need as an organization to put that stuff on ice, and there's no intention to do that. And he needs to be a number 2 or a 3 guy, and man, really just sort of take the path that Klay Thompson took. I mean, everybody makes that comparison because it's like an easy one, but man, I mean, Booker doesn't have an explosive first step, but he's crafty with the ball. His jumper's true. You just let him do Klay Thompson stuff and stop with this, wannabe James Harden stuff.
Yeah. To me, on the Trevor Ariza front, he's been about as bad as he can be. He's shooting 34% over the last couple of weeks, and he's still sitting right around top 100. So even if he gets that up to 39%, then you're talking about a guy that should be able to get himself back inside of that mark. Best ad in 9-cat format out of these 3 players: Josh Hart, Ryan Arcidiacono, and Kelly Oubre.
Well done on the name.
I might have screwed it up, but I know it's Arcidiacono. I just don't know where the accent is.
Chef was able to decipher that it's an Italian name.
Indeed.
And that's the hard C.
That's right.
And you even had the chi part correct.
Yes. I watch a lot of League Pass, so I got to listen to how these broadcasters say the names. That's the key.
Well, they jack it up half the time.
Always go to the home guy.
They jack it up too.
Sometimes that's true.
So Arcidiacono or whatever his name is.
He's got to be last, right? Because Chris Dunn's back in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. And then I was trying to remember who the other 2 players got. Oubre and
Josh Hart and Kelly Oubre.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw some salt on Josh Hart on Twitter, almost like you're a moron if you held Josh Hart. No, he's been he was started the year as a top 50 guy, slid to top 75. Then he got hurt. So I don't know what the deal is there. I probably would rather have Josh Hart, over Oubre, just knowing that Oubre's had a hard time being consistent. If, it's not an easy call one way or another. I mean, Hart's got LeBron to deal with. He's got Rondo eventually to deal with. Just a lot of chaos there in LA. But Oubre has not been able to really take the upside and run with it. So I'll probably go Hart over Oubre, and then Ryan Archidonio or whatever his name is. That guy.
If I have an IR spot, should I use it on Bobby Portis?
Yeah. I'm more bullish on Portis than anybody else around here, I think. But I think he could be a top 100 guy when he returns.
Roberto says, what's a 1-1-1 player? I'll field that one. That's someone who makes 1 3, 1 steal, and 1 block per game. Sounds like the chat room may have actually answered that as well. Let's see. We got some Dwight stuff. We actually talked about the Wizards already, so I'm plowing through a few of these things. Is Lou Williams a buy low? Because he really hasn't been. Nobody's been picking on him this year, which is kind of surprising. But 9Cat, he's number 130. That's really bad so far.
Yeah, I mean, Lou is a really stable fantasy asset. So, I mean, 2.3 turnovers, I think, something in that ballpark is in his range of the, the rank's going to really hurt him. So that's why he's so low in 9Cat. He's making 40% of his shots. That's not Lou. I think he's going to get in there and bump that up. I would call him a top sort of 50, 60, 8-cat guy and top 70, 80, 9-cat guy for the rest of the year.
All right. Fair enough. So then the answer is yes. It is a buy low.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Forgot the question.
Let's see. Can we get some Hawaiian Isles coffee to Mikal Bridges to get that usage rate up? Well said, West Ender. I like that. That's someone who's already working our sponsor into digs on players.
We told them they were loyal.
See, there you go. I want to get rid of Devin Booker. What point guard has more defensive stats, but around the same overall value as Booker? Well, this is something we can usually do just by pulling up the numbers on whatever your friendly neighborhood ranking system is and looking at the guys ranked right around Devin Booker. Where is he so far this year? 30-something?
I think, you could
29.
probably get in there for a Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, that's not too far off.
A lot of this comes down to playoffs, not playoffs. And I don't have the playoff schedules up in front of me. You'd have to be looking at the premium product to be able to do that. And I'm not looking at it right now.
There aren't a ton of point guards right around Devin Booker that do more defensive stuff. I'll give you that. McCollum is there, but he doesn't do more defensive stuff, and he has point guard eligibility. The nearest one later is Eric Bledsoe, if you wanted to move that direction.
Honestly, Victor Oladipo.
Yeah, you could probably buy him these days.
Maybe you could pull that off. Drew Holiday's numbers are a little bit down because in 9-cat, he's a 3.8 turnover guy.
Yeah, it's really rough. Roberto says, I somehow ended up punting assists. Did I mess up the punt strategy? No, I actually like the somehow ended up punt more than the I intend to punt. Because now you have assets that you can move that maybe you wouldn't have drafted otherwise, but are ranked really high, and assists have something to do with it. And if you have some guys on your team that still get them, you can trade those guys away for their actual value, and you can get guys that are better suited to your team usually pretty easily. So I don't think you messed it up at all. I think you drafted with a bigger player pool, and now you can make mid-season adjustments. I don't know. I kind of like
my teams are constantly late on assists, and that's because there's higher ranked and more higher value players throughout the draft available. Everybody goes for assists early in drafts. I don't like to completely punt them in roto leagues, because you can't really win with that punt. But I've seen people execute that strategy in roto leagues. It's a fun one.
We are at the 3-minute warning, so we're going maximum lightning round here, and I'll do 2 minutes of questions. Who am I dropping between Danny Green and Slow Mo to stash Will Barton?
Danny Green. Sorry, Dan.
That is, I know. I agree with that one. I wish it didn't have to be either of them. Is it time to start streaming? Well, maybe. Sort of depends on your league and what that means. That's a question for a non-lightning round situation. Throw that in the Hoopball forums. I promise I'll get over there and write something longer later today. Let's see. With Oladipo out, who gets the biggest bump in Indiana? Is it Darren Collison?
Yes, question mark. I mean, yeah, it's not a big bump. I
Yeah.
almost think it's a bonus.
Yeah, it might be. Can Andrew Wiggins get better?
No.
Should I trade?
Lightning round.
Should I sell on DeMar DeRozan?
No.
JJ Redick. What level of value should I be targeting in a trade? Top
80?
Jim Collins, by the way, says, I almost used Damari Carroll tonight also, Brew, by the way. Throwing that in.
Oh, that makes me feel much better.
Will Wes
There's
Matthews...
two of us now.
Yeah, you guys are stuck together. Wes Matthews, can he be a top 100 guy in 8 cat?
Yeah, but I mean, the chances aren't great.
No, easier for 9, obviously, a guy that averages just over 1 turnover per game. Let's see. With the Sacramento drama, that's going to have to wait for another show because that's obviously not a lightning round stuff. And the last question was, where do you see some of the rankings on these Bulls guys when they get back? And this, unfortunately, is a question where we're going to have to turn it into a lightning round one. So, Lauri Markkanen, top what?
Markkanen, top 70.
Done.
Dunn, top 50. Levine, top 50. Wendell Carter, top 96.
And Jabari Parker. Oh, what about Justin Holiday?
Holiday, top 115. Parker, top 190.
And I probably missed something here.
Portis?
I probably missed. Oh, yeah,
top
Portis.
For Portis.
Okay, there you go. I almost for sure missed a question there trying to get these things squeezed in. Thank you to all the folks that put the questions out there. Thank you to Mr. Aaron Bruski, the founder of hoop-ball.com. And thank you to
thanks,
Hawaiian
Glenn.
Isles.
Thanks, Glenn.
Yeah.
Hawaiian Isles. Loved it. This was an incredible cup of coffee. I'm looking forward to drinking many more.
Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. A full week of guests coming up next week as usual. This was Fantasy NBA Today live on YouTube on Friday. I am Dan Besbris. So long. I should always sign off by saying I'm Dan Besbris trying to figure out how to stop this thing. I think